you a video of some quick hip opening stretches, in particular with butterfly Baddha Konasana. I know for me, either sitting a lot or traveling just gets my hips very, very tight, so this is an easy, quick way to stretch them. So we know of this pose, Baddha Konasana, so I wanted to talk about how to get our knees a little bit closer towards the ground without shoving them down. So I want you to think about your thighs, this quad is like a conveyor belt. So from the inner groin, the line will draw out to the inner knee. And then from the outer knee, you'll pull back in. So if you find this strength of the pull out through the inner knee and then draw back of the outer knee, that'll start to get your knees a little bit closer towards the ground. So you can practice by bringing your feet together, knees wide, take your hands behind you so that there's support. And then think about drawing out and at the same time pulling in, and then your knees will come a little bit deeper. So you kind of start here to get a feeling of where are my hips today? How far are my knees towards the ground? And then to deepen the stretch, we'll work with a block. So the block has many sides. This is the first level, this is the second level, and then this will be the third level. So we'll work with that. So we'll start with the narrowest width, feet on either side of the block. You'll take your hands behind you and lift your hips and bring your groins as close to the block as you can. And notice my knees are pretty high, and that's all right. But you do the working here, inner groins to outer knee draws to the back to the hip joint. Lift your chest and then work there. Think less about shoving your knees to the ground and rather the energy pulling out and then back inward, and see if your knees come a little bit closer towards the ground. Breathe deeply here. Just take 15-20 seconds here as you stretch. And then we'll move to the second level. So you just kind of scoot your hips back. Flatten the block here. Take your feet on either side of the block. Hands behind you, lift your hips, bring your groins nice and close to the block. And notice my knees come even higher. So as the width of the block grows, your knees will kind of come up, and that's all right. That's part of the work. So draw from the inner groins to the outer knee, from the outer knee back towards the hips. And see if you can get that deep stretch. So you're getting a stretch from all angles of the hip. Keeping your chest tall and your belly in so your low back is supported as you stretch. And once again, take about 15-20 seconds here, and you certainly can go longer, but I would stay here for that minimum at least. Draw your shoulders back, breathe. And then the last width of the block will go this way, and it's pretty wide. Your knees will come pretty high, especially if you are tighter in the hips, and let that be okay. That's not really the point of getting the knees down. It's just the feeling of the inner groins stretching. So you'll hands behind you, lift your hips, bring your groins to the block. Again, notice my knees are pretty high. Let that be okay. Draw from the inner groins to the inner knee, and then from the outer knee to the outer hip. See if the hips or the knees come down a little bit closer towards the floor. Really push strong in the block with your feet so that there's engagement there. So we created a base with Baddha Konasana at the beginning without the block. Now with working with the block, we'll come back to our baseline and see what kind of progress we made. So remove the block, bring the feet together to touch. You can either support behind you, lift up and bring it in, or take your hands by your ankles. I like the support back here, just so I can feel like I can keep my spine nice and long. From inner groins to inner knees to outer hips, and then bring them down. Not too bad. Now you do it. Thanks, guys.